Hello and welcome to another art review. This time I'm reviewing the Carrie Weems show at the Barbican. Now, this is the first time I've ever seen her work and I was blown away. This is a fantastic show. It's thoughtful, it's creative, it's innovative, it's poetic, it's politically important. It's really varied work. There's photography, there's film, there's installation, there's text, there's performance. I love the fact that she puts herself in quite a lot of her work. What I really appreciate about her work is that while all of her work is profoundly political, there is poetry in every work. So even though the politics is critical to the work, she ensures, at the end of the day, she's an artist, she's a poet. She ensures that every work has art in it. And I saw this on the same day that I saw the Dear Earth show at the Haywood, where it did feel like some of the works had a kind of poetry politics imbalance. I think Carrie just gets it right. Carrie's politics is at the forefront of all of her work, but at the same time, every work is an artwork, and this is something that I personally really appreciate. Weems is an absolute radical. She's an activist, but there's a kind of grace and rigor about her work. It feels like she's an academic, like the work is really researched and considered, and it has a real depth to it. And I enjoyed all of the works in this show, but two really stood out for me as being particularly breathtaking. The first one is in the first room that we see. It's called Painting the Town, and it's some photographs that she took in Portland, Oregon, following the murder of George Floyd, and they're photographs of boarded up shops with political messages and protest messages painted over, and they just look incredible. On the gallery wall it says that this work is on the threshold between abstraction and representation. And I would say this is so true. It's a perfect balance. From a distance, these look like abstract expressionist paintings. Even close to, you really see a painterly texture. At first, they really look like paintings, but they are actually photographs. And you need that bit of information about what the photographs are of to really understand the works. Otherwise, they would just look like paintings, like these abstract constructions. I think that raises an interesting issue generally with artwork, is how much should an artwork speak for itself and how much should you give the viewer information? Not every artwork can necessarily communicate the whole meaning within the work and within the title. I think as a general principle, I think that a work should stand by itself. It shouldn't need any explanation. But this is an example of where an exception to this works. I do think it's useful to see the work and see it as an abstract painting, and then in time learn that what these are actually photographs of and realise the much deeper meanings and political significance of these works. The other work that I thought was just amazing was From Here I Saw What Happened and I Cried. Now, Carrie found images of enslaved men and women in the Harvard University Museum archives. And these were originally commissioned in 1850, so they're very old images, by the Harvard scientist Louis Agassiz, who was researching the genetic superiority of the white race. And she's taken these images and she's made them all look similar by putting them in a circular frame and a red filter on all of the images. And this kind of makes a consistency between each image and establishes a kind of equality between them. Originally, these images were very much a white gaze. They were the people in them were viewed as specimens, as subhuman. But what she does in this work is that it becomes the gaze of the artist. It's in the title. She says, "From here I saw what happened." She's saying, I see you, you exist in a new light. And you really had this sense when you saw these works that she activated them in a way that then we can look at them in a similar way. The photographs are aesthetically interesting in themselves. It looks great, but it's so deep and meaningful. And when I read the title of the work and kind of looked at some of these images, it made me feel really emotional. And I imagine the artist finding these images in the archive, and these people that were enslaved and studied like animals. And I can understand that she felt emotional at that time and she cried. And that's why it says in the title, "And I cried." It's really, really powerful. It's not often I am actually moved to tears by a work, but this really did this for me. I always balk at obvious politics in artwork. However, I do think a great artwork can be both poetic and political, and this work is just full of poetry, grace and compassion. She finds such a beauty and a beautiful moment and a beautiful emotion in the trauma. This is really a fantastic work, worth visiting the exhibition just to see this. Overall, I highly recommend this show at the Barbican. I went on a Thursday night, by the way, when it's open till 9 o'clock, and it was quiet, so there was plenty of space to view the works, and it was dark and it was somber. There was a real atmosphere in there, and it just felt ideal conditions to be with this work. I'm definitely going to go back. It's well worth a visit. Thanks for watching. See you next time.